Hi. So, a lot of people who are into spirituality are fascinated by the idea of remembering their past lives. But the issue is that most people want to remember everything and they think it will serve them a lot. And there are reasons why they will probably never be able to remember everything all at once. All of your past lives, all of your abilities, all of your relationships, everything that you have ever known right here, right now, is not really an option. So probably the most simplest way to explain it is think of like a movie or a camera film roll. You unroll it and you have it frame by frame by frame, like the old style. When you have one frame, it's pretty much like having one lifetime. You can zoom into that frame, look at that specific moment and see what happened. And it's a moment captured in time. Great. Now, when you put one film roll on top of each other, like an overlay, the picture you had, which was very clear, now you kind of see two of them, and you have to look at the details to make out those two. But when you start putting one and another on top of each other, it kind of becomes very dense and thick, pitch black. So when we're trying to remember our past lives, it's not just two or three lives we have had here on Earth, possibly, but all of our existence, everything that the consciousness has ever experienced. And most people don't consider that they have lived for quadrillions of years at least. At least. And it's probably way more. But even then, talking about time is not really an option because your consciousness can be living right here, right now, in the past, and in the future simultaneously. It's basically what you focus on. What's your frequency right now? The way you feel, what you're thinking, what you're believing in allows you to focus on certain past lives, on certain aspects of you that are living right now simultaneously, and it's all happening at once. So that's one part. Now, if you had the ability to remember everything right now, it would be overwhelming. Because people think about past lives and want to remember the cool stuff. Things that made them happy, things that, hey, what's my superpower? What did I do? Like you look at history and some figures you admire and you're like, what if I lived with them? What if I was that person? And I have plenty of clients and I work with them and they're like, I was Jesus in the past life and I was Moses and I was this and okay, let's go, let's talk about it. But everyone was that. We talk about starseeds. Oh, feeling super duper special about being the Arcturian or the Pleiadian or the Irma. Ooh, wow, amazing. Everyone was that. It was like, yeah, cool. A leaf, just another leaf on a tree. Simple, from my perspective. But when we're looking at this, let's take only Earth, for example, and the known written history we have in books today, which is probably not the most accurate, but whoever wrote stories are great. So we can look at each period and let's take it like 100 years at a time. And you can look like prehistoric. Let's say we did have dinosaurs. And oh my God, what if you have lived among dinosaurs? You were one of the dinosaurs among them. Were you happy? How did it make you feel? What was the experience like? So for a few hundred years, you lived like a dinosaur, or maybe you were eaten by a T-Rex or something, and that was one life on Earth. And then time goes on, Egyptian times, and oh, you know, you look at all the gods over there, amazing figures, the Roman Empire and other places. It's like you pick out specific times that you admire or like a lot and feel like you should have lived those days because you really can feel similarities with your character, with your values, with what you're into, and it's kind of fascinating to you, and you feel like, yeah, what if I lived among them? Well, sure, okay, let's take that as a scenario. So if you had like 20, 50 lives on Earth, if you're lucky enough, you're living up to 100 years, that's just Earth alone. That's just human experience. How many of those experiences were actually happy and amazing? And how many of those were you really unlucky? A starving kiddo in Africa, a kiddo who was, you know, a victim to a pedophile, a kiddo who was shot, a kiddo who was murdered. You were going to school in America and there was a shooting and you died. Wow, what a life. So you pick out other places and other scenarios that you never really thought of, because a lot of people think that Earth is school. Okay, Earth school, yay. But it's actually pretty much toxic. And a lot of people don't want to remember a lot of negative stuff. Look at the little traumas you have in this life. Maybe you were abandoned, maybe you had an toxic relationship, maybe someone cheated on you, maybe something else happened. And you look at those experiences and it makes you feel bad. Like, hey, you were not valued, you were not loved, you missed out a lot. Your whole life you were giving, 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 and doing everything for others, but no one ever really gave back to you. And now you're feeling lonely and unvalued and like you're not good enough, like no one ever notices you. So there's like a lot of possible scenarios to that. So with it, that's just Earth life. Some scenarios that we can imagine, but we lived way before that. We had other aspects. We had other bodies. We had lives with other races. So now you can experience being a Pleiadian, being a Lyran, being the Arcturian, being the Irma, being Reptilian, Mantis, Draco, yada yada yada. You just keep on naming them. There's billions of other races that we know of, and like many more that we do not know of, because it's not written about that much. So with all this, you've had tons of lives, good and bad. And if you were to explore your own consciousness, if you were to do past life regression sessions on yourself and dig deeper within, recall what other experiences you've had, you would notice that there are patterns. For example, lives where you were a victim to something. But also that same scenario, maybe you were killed, maybe you were abandoned, maybe something else happened. But there's going to be a different life where you will do that to others. Maybe you've killed someone. Maybe you've cheated on someone. Maybe you've done something that in this life you've received. There's going to be other lives similar to that scenario where you watch someone else do it to someone else. There's going to be other lives where you have done it to yourself. I'm done with this life. Oh, just can't handle it. I have to stop being myself, become the new me. A lot of people do that. So, abandoning someone, abandoning yourself, the soul aspect, who you are, leaving that as a person because you got tired of behaving or having a life that really wasn't satisfying, you've decided to change all the way. So you might quit drinking, you might quit smoking, you might quit doing something that does not help you. You reform your character, you become the new you. You abandoned your old personality, you abandoned yourself to become the new you. So with all of these scenarios, we keep on changing. When we're trying to remember past lives, unknowingly we're talking about specifics. It's like, God help me. Well, which God are you talking to? And what kind of help do you need? Because right now, you might have had a goal in your mind, but you didn't name it. So when you're saying this generality, I want to remember all of my lives, all of my experiences, all of my abilities. What if your ability was just farting all the time? What if your ability was teleporting? You can take like complete amazing thing and like complete crap. It's like, what's it worth to you? So with it, when people talk about their past lives, they're talking on a very general level without much understanding and much thought into it. But then again, most people would not be able to confront things they have experienced in the past. You can watch TV, you can watch movies, and it's fun. But then you can be a doctor, you can work in a morgue, you can do autopsies and see all kinds of disgusting stuff. And there's going to be more. What if you had to deal with pedophiles? What if you had to deal with murderers? So take cases that are not that pleasant to you. That's kind of hard to handle, kind of hard to swallow. And with it, there's things that you don't want to see, you don't want to confront. Maybe at times you go out and you feel like being among people is a bit too much for you. What if that was your experience 24/7? Having to be among people and it's always a bit too much. And that's just one thing. Oh, having psychic abilities, being able to see entities, being able to see other entities, be able to see beyond the physical sounds amazing as the idea, but most people, even me, it's like when you get an entity, an ugly entity, coming out of the blue and scaring you, it's not the most pleasant thing. It's like, hi, oh, here you are, popping right in front of my face. How nice. That reaction would be nice, but usually it's not that. So when you think of things that you can handle, it all sounds great. It's perfect scenario. But most people, it's like, do you like surprises? Well, only those that you expect, yes, you do. But most surprises to people usually end up being problems. So if it's a surprise, you have an ability to see beyond the physical and have more senses, and now your nose becomes sensitive and you can smell all kinds of stuff. So you used to smell only like flowers, and now it's crap all over the place because what if the way people felt, if they felt bad, they smelled like shit? You couldn't handle it. You would not want to be among people. If that was the case, and we were able to see entities, we were able to see way more. Seeing it 24/7 becomes overwhelming. Like when you're interested in something, when you need it, when it's curious, sure, you can dive into it, get some understanding, get some new ideas, explore, find out, and then be done with it. Few minutes, an hour, a day, you're like, okay, case closed. I'll come back to it next time. And you take a break and you enjoy life or doing something else, but you have this breathing room. If you had it 24/7, it would be way too much. So people will not be able to remember their past lives because one, it's like they can't confront it. You look at yourself today and look at how you are as a person. Do you like who you are? If yes, that's good for you. Most people won't feel that way. Most people will feel like, well, low self-esteem, ooh, I'm fat, and like, ooh, my teeth are crooked or something, and they will not appreciate who they are. But that's just the surface of the iceberg. We can go much deeper. The traumas, things that they have experienced and stuff, and that's just basic human level. When you look at all of your lives, it's great when we have these movie and book fantasies and see perfect scenarios. But what if you recall life after life after life where you looked like crap, where you felt like crap, and your life was short and really unsatisfying and you were tortured all the time? If that was experience after experience again and again and again and again, you would not want to look at it. If everything you have been through was always traumatizing, you would not want to look at it. Of course, it's always balance, which is why our consciousness gets to explore so much. We get to explore the good, the bad, the ugly, and all that. So, part of it is us being curious. Part of it is us being unable to handle it. Another part is people choose to forget for a reason. Again, small group, sure. But if you've ever watched a movie, if you ever played a game, if you ever watched a TV show or had an experience so satisfying and it was so unique that you've kind of wished that I wish I would forget it so that I could re-experience it again and have all of those emotions again. People watch Lost, people watch Game of Thrones, people play a game like Red Dead Redemption or something, and they get so excited, they love it, that after that, they cannot find anything as satisfying as it was. And so the searches for the next anime, the next movie, the next book, it's like kind of takes a while, a few years. Your taste changes. You find other values until you can find something else that kind of fits, but still is not as good. And so you look at that first thing you've had, and you still wish I could forget it so that I could rewatch it, re-experience it. And many people will have exactly the same thing with their past lives. It was so satisfying, so good, challenging, overcoming yourself, becoming a new you, all of that. Only to forget it and be able to experience it all again. So these are just few scenarios, but there's tons of reasons. And people, most of the time, do it to themselves. It's like Yeah, it's fun blaming entities. It's fun blaming the Archons or Reptilians or other groups regarding us not having the memory. Oh, it's the Matrix suppressing us. Oh, it's the system. Oh, it's the food. Oh, it's the electromagnetic field. And no, we're being beamed. And no, the direct energy weapons and secret space program and all this stuff. Yes, it exists. Yes, it affects us. But that's just one side of the coin. The other side is you. You. You choose to be here. You choose to be in this body. You choose to experience this. Everything you believe, every single thought, every single emotion you have, it's all you creating everything around you, what you focus on. And it is your job to change what you focus on, to change how you think, to change your values, to change yourself, so that you can look within and get rid of your own limitations on yourself to free up that mind. Now, I'm not talking that it is impossible to remember everything. Everything all at once, right here, right now, is not the case. But think of walking into a library, massive one, never ending. And every book in this massive library is your separate life. There are tons of books, zillions, and even more. And so you walk into this library, you can choose which specific book do you want to read. Is there a specific genre? Maybe you like fantasy, maybe you like the sci-fi. Oh, look, some people are into harem. Oh, look, some people are into monogamy. Oh, look, some people are being single. Oh, look, a robot body, amazing. So you have all of these choices, and even then, within all of these categories and all of these bubbles, you will find specific beliefs, specific values, specific things you were focusing on in that life, and then you can choose to reconnect with that life and look at the experiences you have had and look at what you've experienced there. Which is why when you live from your day-to-day life here, you experience those deja vu moments. Like something like this has already happened. Yeah, there are tons of parallel worlds, tons of other realities with this experience as well. And with it, it's like you've been through it already. So you catch only a small glimpse, and that kind of gives you an idea. If you were to focus on specific moments in time, maybe confront your own shadow and look at your own traumas, things you've been through, things that are stopping you right now. If you look at like, oh, I can't remember my past lives. I can't get out of body. I don't have the visual. My psychic abilities are crappy. So you pick a theme, but then let's get more specific. Well, when I close my eyes, I have no visuals. Okay. Then we can look at all the other lives you have had where you were closing your eyes and you had no visuals. And so much more. But you have the access. Every single being can walk into that library and all of your existence will be there. Everything you have ever experienced, the books on each of your lives, on every aspect that you never have, never will have. It's like it's there. Just pick out that book and start reading. But it is up to you to know that you can walk into the library, but you have to walk into the category and choose a specific book about your life. The same way you would reflect on what you're experiencing here, and you would reflect that your life has themes. Maybe childhood, maybe teenage years, maybe when you were a young adult. But then, relationships, finances, hobbies, and in there, look at your beliefs, specific feelings. You can recall good times when you're sovereign, when you're doing good, your advantages, your skills. That's great. But even more is when you can get rid of something that is currently limiting you. So you have to look at those Trojan horses within. Look at your specific beliefs, your thoughts and emotions that are getting in the way. Try to look at the patterns of your life. Is there something that you're doing or not doing, saying or not so saying that's getting in the way of your life? Maybe something triggers you a lot. And every time something happens, it triggers you. So, what is that theme that when it happens, you feel like this? When you can figure those out, you can walk into that library and start recalling other lives, other aspects where you experience something. And then you find those nexus points. The first time this has happened, that formed your belief, that formed your skill, that formed your decision. And that nexus point will give you a lot of understanding because you can go into earlier experiences or different aspects of yourself where you see who you are or how you were before you made a certain decision, before you acted or didn't act the same, like certain way. And see how one change of action or behavior you've had really shifted your entire experience everywhere. And by confronting it, by looking at it, whatever you've done or didn't do, it's like, oh, you get the understanding and you can consciously change yourself. So I think it's important to look at the subject, and there's so much to it. But when people think that they only have a few lives, like who was I previously before coming here on a chronological timeline? Like, there is no chronology. Like, everything is all over the place. Specifically, right before Earth, well, you've had 5 million more bodies specifically right before Earth. Which one do you want to look at? The only soul family, like, there is no only. You have a lot of preferences. You've had quadrillions of lifetimes. You've had quadrillions of families. So, depending on how you feel, your current values, your current things that you like and prefer, it's like by your interest, you will prefer certain things. Some people in this life prefer Volvo, prefer Toyota, prefer Lexus, all of these cars, right? So you have your own preference of what kind of car you would drive, what kind of computer or a gaming console you would own, what kind of book theme would you like to have on your like bookshelf. With all of that, you have a specific thing you like. But look at how your tastes has changed ever since you were a baby. You've changed quite a bit. And every day, as you grow up, as you learn, as you get to experience life, your taste might get more refined. You change yourself. You change what you value. Maybe. Maybe some do, maybe some don't. But with most people, it's like, that's old family. Currently, you might vibe with Irma. Currently, you might vibe with Pleiadians. But there are people who will be like, reptilians are freaking damn smart. You don't have to go with, oh, suppressing Earth and controlling humanity and all that. Not all of them are that. It's like, are humans good or bad? Well, depending on which ones we're looking at. Exactly. Same goes with the other ET races in certain groups. Is there a family member that you really, really love and one family member that you kind of don't like and can't stand? Well, same goes with our past lives and other lives we have and our soul families. There's going to be plenty of beings that we vibe with and really can connect on a deep level, but also some beings who are in our soul family that we don't like. So, at any point in time, depending on how you feel, depending on what you focus on, you can choose what you want to connect. The experience, the life, the family, the memory, the ability, the knowledge, it's all within you. You don't have to look elsewhere. You don't have to buy courses. You don't have to do stuff. It's all within you. But you have to be smart enough to know that you have to walk into that library. You have to pick out a specific book instead of, let's talk about my past life. So open up all of these books and let's talk about everything. A bird and a net and like things are just not connecting. But let's talk about all of this because I want to remember everything. You don't need everything right now. You need specific things that you prefer, that you need, that you're interested in. Once you pick those out, open those books, start talking about it. Well, it's all metaphorically speaking, but I'm sure most of you will understand. That being said, I should probably wrap it up instead of making a massively long video. So thank you for watching. We'll touch on other topics, we'll answer questions, and I hope you're doing well. See you next time.